Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner. Classics slash non-classics. This is episode 50. 50, my 50th episode for this series. And in this episode, I'm reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy, War of Kings, Book 1. And it's written by the creators of this particular series. People who created this. This is the second incarnation of things. Written by Dan Abbott and the editing, with art by Paul Pelletier, Brad Walker, and Wesley Craig. This is the new incarnation in Guardians of the Galaxy. This is not the one written by Michael Bendis. This is the one written by the original creators of this particular incarnation. This is the modern day incarnation. Not the one from the future. This is the modern day incarnation. Now, this particular incarnation, its lineup consists of people like Groot, Major Victory, Bug, Gamora, Mantis, Star-Lord, and Jack Flag joins in this book. And also, it reveals exactly, now, it had been a long time since I read issues from this particular volume, because I had missed these issues when they came out originally. But this was a very good book. But you probably have to read Annihilation Conquest and the first volume of this to understand exactly what's going on in this book. Pretty much, this book, despite the fact we call it War of Kings Book 1, issues are kind of tie-ins, but here's the thing. They serve as a prelude to War of Kings. Simple as that. They have a lot of issues tying into this crossover. But Ronan, the accuser, shows in this book. He sends Star-Lord to the negative. Now, there's like two different stories going on in this book. Basically, and the Guardian Space Operations is the place called Nowhere, which was previously known for being headquarters. They're actually back there right now at Nowhere. Plus Nova, a show recently, an issue of Nova, and the Annihilator is used to the base operations as well. Bug is from the Micronaut stuff, but he's with the Enigma Force. He was originally supposed to be in Volume 3, but I think that plan's scrapped there. But pretty much, if you're looking for characters who are going to appear in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, pretty much all of them except for one actually do appear in this book. Though Gamora does not wear the outfit that she's wearing currently right now. In this outfit, she's wearing her previous outfit, which is on the cover, that's Mantis. Pretty much the group had disbanded at this point because they found out that Star-Lord used Mantis' telepathic abilities to manipulate the team to come together. So they broke up. Star-Lord went on his own, but he got sent to the negative zone, which he ran to Prison 42. And then Battlestar took over the facility thanks to a villain called Skeleton Key, which I have no idea who he is. I barely remember this. But basically, if you want to read, if you heard of the storyline Escape the Negative Zone, which is a crossover between three different aliens, so Kenny X-Men alien number 3, Volume number 3, Namor the Submariner alien number 1, and Steve Rogers Super Soldier number 1. If you want to know exactly how he took over the prison, if you read those 3 issues, this book you gotta read. This book definitely. But before I read this book, you gotta read 2 books. You gotta read Annihilation Conquest miniseries, and you got to read the first 6 issues of this before I read this. But this was very good. The artwork is fantastic in this book. I have forgotten what the artwork even looked like. I have forgotten what happened to this thing because it's been such a long time since I read it. I think maybe about 2 or 3 years. Because I've been focusing on the current volume read by Michael Bendis. But all in all, I don't want to say too much for this book, particularly. Oh, Jack Flag just joined the Guardians of the Galaxy at the end of this book. And he does mention something that happened in Page of Thunderbolts when it was during this is like post Civil War. I think it was like during like Norman Osborn's reign. So technically, in a way, this takes place probably just not long after Secret Invasion, in a way, or it takes place somewhere before and after Secret Invasion by the Skrulls. But basically, it was mentioned here. Jack Flag mentioned why he's in a wheelchair. Turns out that Bullseye did that to him. He stabbed him, and basically he was put into a wheelchair. That had Pages of Thunderbolts. There's an issue of Thunderbolts where Jack Flag does show up, and I think it's probably some issue in the 110s, I think it was, yes. Where basically, that's what happened to him. Basically, you also got to read that to have what happened to Jack Flag. Read that first trade paperback post-Civil War stuff for Thunderbolts, written by Warren Ellis. You gotta read that to know what happened to Jack Flag. But you gotta read about 3 books before you read this. So it's Annihilation Conquest, the first book for the series, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Legacy, and the the post Thunderbolts graphic novel written by Warren Ellis. So you gotta read that before you read this book. But this is a pretty good book. Okay. Oh, and the other story is simply Drax and the current Quasar. Of course, Quasar, they bring back both the original Quasar and Moondragon. Yeah, they come back and they rejoin the team. But basically, that's it. That's all really happens in this book. Very little to do with Adam Warlock is in this book, yes, but he has very little to do. It's basically got 3 different stories. You have the Star-Lord story, you have the Rocket story with him and his version of the Guardians of the Galaxy, you have Drax and Quasar, who is Sideville this time, doing their own thing. You have Adam Warlock and Gamora doing another thing. So you got like 3 or 4 different stories from the same time in this book. But it's still a good read if you want to get into it. So 5 out of 5. Alright, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for my 51st video. Okay? Bye.